Hello, QVS AP World History students. I hope you're having a good weekend and I hope that you had a good, successful first week of Essential Unit 2. I would like to take the opportunity today to discuss with you week 2 of Essential Unit 2 and to ensure you that if you are not quite where you need to be in terms of pacing, you'll see that week 2 in Essential Unit 2 is a little bit lighter in scope. So maybe you can borrow some time this week to get caught up on last week's activities. Okay, so let's go to the course page. We'll talk about where you have been and where I hope for you to go in week 2 of Essential Unit 2. Okay. So, of course, you realize by this point in time that we are continuing on in the same time period from 1200 to 1450. So, as I said last week, that's really to your advantage. Many of the features that we studied within the context of Essential Unit 1 are important for your understanding as to why or how these networks of exchange that we are focusing on in Essential Unit 2 were structured and supported by the states that were developing or that had developed in the different regions from East Asia to South Asia to West Africa to Europe and so on and so forth. So the reason I chose, again, this map that introduces our unit is because the Mongols, who came to control the largest contiguous land empire in world history, were important for the reinvigoration of the land routes that had connected Eurasia during the Han and Roman periods. So with the consolidation of Eurasia under the Mongol rule, they were able to usher in what historians often reference as Pax Mongolica, or Mongol peace, a period that these routes became safe to use once again through the protection of the Mongol Khanates that ruled. So this is an important map, and you focused in on the Mongols under week 1. So this is what you should have done last week, an examination of the Silk Roads, their legacy and importance within the context of history. On top of that, you also looked at one of the important trade networks that existed in Europe in the period from 1200 to 1450 called the Hanseatic League. You were able to come to understand its legacy even today, as many of the old cities that were developed and formed economically during that time period still hold important economic significance in Germany and other regions of Europe to this day. So that was the first set of activities that you had to do. For those of you who turned in the map, I'm really excited and I want to commend you on your work with the Jamboard. If you haven't done it yet, I think that a few of your classmates have proven that it is possible and you can be successful. It should be a fun way to demonstrate your understanding of those trade networks. So continue to work on that project if you haven't started it yet. But for the ones that have turned it in, I was very pleased with what you came up with on that activity. Moving to the end of last week, you looked at the Mongols. Now, I just checked the forum, and not a lot of you have participated as of yet. So make sure before you move into week 2, you contribute to that forum. Be careful because I assigned you a role in defending a claim and whether or not the Mongols were barbaric or were they ones who unified Eurasia and ushered in a period of peace. So it'll be interesting to see how you debate that topic there. So again, before moving into week 2, make sure you finish week 1 activities, okay? But moving into week 2, Again, I think you will find this week to be quite manageable. You can even borrow some time and continue on with week one activities. In week two, really, we are going to examine a region yet again that we spent quite a bit of time looking at within the context of Essential Unit 1. So in Essential Unit 1, you already read that Schaefer article on Southernization. And in that article, she really introduced to you the importance that India played within the trade network that came to dominate the Indian Ocean region, connecting East Africa to the Middle East, to South Asia, Southeast Asia, and even into East Asia. So if you reconsider the article that you read back in Essential Unit 1, that's going to really help you in terms of week 2 for Essential Unit 2. We'll begin, as always, with a crash course. Now, I have to warn you that this crash course episode even delves into Essential Unit 3 material because in episode number I don't know, 20, I think, or it's called the 15th Century Mariners. In this episode, John Green spends a lot of time talking about the legacy of Zheng He, but he also introduces to you Da Gama, who sailed for Portugal, and Christopher Columbus, who sailed for Spain. In your examination of this crash course, I do want you to pay particular attention to what he presents to you on Zheng He. Okay. And then moving on, you're going to listen to a lecture and participate in a forum. I'll go ahead and open this one that will discuss with you the important legacy of trade in the post-classical period, or the period from 1200 to 1450. I put a little map up here, even though you already did the mapping activity, just so you can see how extensive these trade networks were by 1500. Go ahead and listen to the lecture here. It's about a half an hour long. But before you listen, make sure you read what I want you to discuss in the forum, because then it will help guide your listening. So in the forum, I want you to tell me which of the following, so I have 4 points listed right here. I want you to tell me which of the following was the greatest repercussion of Southernization. So again, think back to what Linda Schaefer offered us in terms of what her claim or argument was related to Southernization. And then think about, of these 4 features, which one was the greatest legacy or repercussion. So look at all 4 of them now. World-changing Chinese inventions of the compass, printing, and gunpowder. That's the first one. The second one, the transmission of the bubonic plague from China to the Middle East to Africa and Europe. Or number 3, the expansion of Islam, because you know that from our studies, Islam spread into East Africa with the development of the Swahili city-states. Islam spread into North Africa and even into the Iberian Peninsula. It spread into South Asia and eventually made its way into Southeast Asia. And then finally, your 4th choice, Portuguese or European exploration and its success through the use of the compass and the lateen sail. And again, this one kind of like delves into the next time period, but it's still important for you to understand that in history, unfortunately, things aren't always demarcated perfectly within one time period. So you can even think beyond the period 1450 in terms of the legacy or repercussion of the trade networks that existed in the post-classical period. So while you listen, again, make sure that you think about one of these 4 so that in the forum you can explain or defend a claim that tells us which of those 4 you believe to be the greatest repercussion. And then, of course, as always, I would like you to respond to at least 2 of your classmates and make sure that your responses are substantial. Please refrain from just saying, I agree with what you posted, or I like how you said such and such. Try to tell them why you agree and make sure that you add some substantial evidence from history to support what they said, what you are agreeing, and maybe to contribute a little bit extra to the discussion. And or choose a post that you don't agree with and counter whatever your classmates said with information that would challenge what they had come to state within their forum. Okay. And then going back to the course page. So moving back into that week, sorry about that. Uh, Getting back there, make sure you post your notes for 2.3. And then we will focus on the Trans-Saharan Trade Network. This one should be fun and interesting. There will be a special focus of two important leaders within the context of West Africa, Mansa Musa and Ibn Battuta. So in this first activity, it's a crash course. John Green will explain to you the importance of Mansa Musa. You'll also look at some documents to have an understanding of the important legacy that he left behind, especially as it relates to the Mali Empire. And then in the next forum for this week, we will have a little debate on whether or not Ibn Battuta should be considered the greatest traveler in history. I really like this activity because I'll open it up for you. There's a website. You're going to have to answer some questions related to his journey. This website is really cool because it gives you a map of the Indian Ocean region and it shows you the extensive nature of Battuta's journeys. So it's finally loading here. But when you open this activity, pay particular attention to the key over here on the left side because these little figurines right here on the bottom of the key, they are the travelers. And the map doesn't just focus on Ibn Battuta, but it has other important people in this time period like Marco Polo, even Mansa Musa, and many, many others. So go ahead and use this map and these features here in the key to help you answer these questions here that I have in the context of this forum. And then finally, you are going to explain or make a claim in the forum and the extent to which you believe he was the greatest traveler in all of history. And of course, if you would argue or counter that statement, it would be important to say, if not Ibn Battuta, then who would you label as the greatest traveler in all of history? Okay, and then there's the tab for 2.4 notes on trans-Saharan trade routes. Okay, so essentially that's what you need to do for week 2 in Essential Unit 2. Like I said, I think you should find those activities to be quite manageable. You can borrow some time and continue up week 1 activities. And as always, I am here to help. So if you ever have any questions or you have trouble opening any of the activities or links are broken, I apologize for that if that ever happens to be the case. I am happy to help. Please drop me a note in Skype or an email and I can, I'll answer your questions right away. Have a good week and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye.